it's not like we can go off and vacation and travel the world. So we're stuck at home a lot of the time for periods. So we actually had a lot of practice with this.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, like, all these people are at each other's throats and like, we're cool. Like
She said, we're cool.
I mean, granted, we've had spurts on the treadmill and this is more like an Iron Man,
Yeah. I like that. That was a good metaphor. I dig that. That was good. That was subtle. That was good. I like that.
But and it's hard when like we can't take our kids to the park and we can't like go do stuff on the weekends and like with them, and they're like pissed.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
navigating that is challenging, because we're like powerless, we can't do anything, and so we just have to manage their emotions, which are hard. It's hard because you love them and you feel for them, and when they're hurting or mad, that makes you mad for them. You're like, yeah, we want to go to the park.
Katie, you're like a big kid. I freaking love it. I want to go to the park. Yeah.
Comes that family again to the park. Watch out.
I know.
Every family has its own challenges, and I have to say I'm pretty grateful that mine are pretty small in comparison to many. So.
And how old are they again?
I have a 10-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Are they buttons loose?
All right, those are good ages.
Are they what?
I said, are they buttons loose?
Believe it or not, they're doing really, really, a lot better than I am.
Really?
Well, kids are so flexible and resilient and adaptable, and they're kind of like everything's interesting and an adventure, except for the whole not going to the park thing.
The park is my thing. Like I do that every day.
Like we've just kind of been navigating this like an adventure, but it's when you're the head of the household, parents are both like, how do we figure this out? So it's been harder on us than it is on them because they're just kind of along for the ride.
Okay. Yeah, so we're not going to the park today, but we're going to the store and there could possibly be ice cream.
I did buy a giant water slide on Amazon that took us 2 hours to set up, and we rocked that for a few days, which was pretty awesome. Right? I just went and bought one of those, like, it's like a moon bounce water slide, and I was like, we're gonna get a lot of use out of this, I have a feeling, this summer, so I'm gonna do it.
Oh, that's cool. So did you go down it?
No, I'm too big. It has a 100-pound weight limit, so I have to lose a few pounds to give it a go.
Excited. I'm like, oh, I want to see this. I'm gonna follow until I see this happen.
Yeah, you'll see it on Instagram. You'll see it on my family Instagram, at least. It's pretty awesome, I have to say.
That's awesome.
I do plan to lounge in the pool section, with a cocktail though.
And you can go like this with the sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that park now?
Yeah, exactly. Who needs a park?
Do you ever have like
this?
Yeah, see, she's in it. Like I see with parents sometimes, like they'll try and one up each other, like cute stuff with their kids. Are you like, yo, the slide was my idea, and then your husband comes in and he's like, all right, ice cream's on me.
No, we don't. We're a united front. It's everything from us. It's never like, mommy went and got this. It's like, look what we did. Like, look what we got.
Nice.
We don't want.
I love that.
Yeah, we don't ever want to create a competition ever. We're a team. When we're all a team, kids are on our team too. It's not even the best us and them. It's like, look what we got. Yeah.
But now it's all about basically the house in the backyard anyways. Most
I know. And so that's what it's about. Like, it's crazy. There's been like a whole thing with parents. Like, you follow this like, oh, now all the sidewalk chalk is selling out. Damn it. Now all the bubbles are selling out. Like all these like parent like resource, materials. Like
think about that. I see that all over the place.
All the inflatable pools are gone. You know what I mean? Like,
really?
Like the inflatable jacuzzis that you can get gone. Like,
They all thought it. Y'all thought about this stuff.
Yeah,
It's
people,
funny.
their backyards are looking, like what?
It's
It's like a combo
It
of
is
like,
not toilet paper.
water. No,
It is not toilet
no,
paper.
figured that out yet. We can't grow that on trees, so.
Damn. I was hoping
It is, but you need a
someone
process.
just someone just sold me some seeds and said if I just plant these and put water on it, toilet paper comes up.
Right.
And
So
they even said if I
how
go ahead.
are they with putting that mask on? I always wondered this with
My
kids.
older one is good because she's 10 and she gets it. My younger one is like not having it unless it's absolutely mandatory. It's kind of like we can't go on a ride on our bike around the block unless you wear it. She's like, okay, I'll wear it. But like if we want to go just, play hopscotch out front, she's like, no, I'd rather not. I'll skip the hopscotch and go in the backyard because I'm not wearing
That's
it.
some attitude. She's like just going after her mom. Katie's like, yo, I got you a pool, I got you hopscotch, and you can't wear the mask.
I bought her a Frozen mask and everything.
A Frozen mask.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
oh, that's pretty slick. Yeah.
See, I don't care what anyone says, Katie. I want you to know, this past Mother's Day, you've outdone yourself. All right, you've outdone yourself.
Mother of the Year award for the Frozen mask. Yep.
Yeah.
Mama ain't easy, let me tell you.
Whoa. And so, okay, so like, what is that? What is that like? Because that kind of goes into my next question for you. We've had a lot of stuff that's like, hey, come out of this with developing a new skill, and people are reading more books because they're at home. And I want to ask you, how do casting directors, and I don't mean to generalize you, but how do casting directors develop yourself? Like, what is your craft of kind of like, this is what I do and how I don't know, I guess spot talent faster?
Are you talking about like in the beginning, or how do you like continue to work on your craft?
Yeah, what is your kind of like self-development for you?
Like ongoing.
Yeah.
So I think it really kind of comes down to really paying attention to what's going on everywhere in society, in pop culture, in music, in trends in advertising, like watching commercials, looking at print ads, listening to actors. I have to tell you, it's been a really educational experience watching social media and watching how forthcoming and transparent a lot of actors are being about their process and how things are going. And you're able to kind of like share information kind of like scientists do, in a way that like you take everybody's input from everywhere and kind of apply your own info as well to kind of craft, where things have come from and where they're going and what's important and what people are focusing on. You know what I mean? Like it's been a really interesting experience to kind of also test all of that through this experience, where you're really able to be the observer a lot more because people are becoming more transparent and forthcoming with their journeys through this. Just watching how some of these commercials are being shot through
the new ones, or are you just talking commercials in general?
No, I'm talking about now, today, these quarantine shot ads at people's homes and things like that. I mean, there's about to be a real huge transition in our industry as to like how things are going to navigate and how things are going to be framed and the new rules and regulations. And I mean, there isn't anything that we can do as so far to predict what's going to happen other than really pay attention. You just have to really, really pay attention. And I think that a lot of people are so hyper focused on what it is that their journey is and what their craft is. And I think that's a mistake. I think that you kind of have to step back and really look at everybody and at everyone's journey and at every avenue that things are coming from, because it's a machine. You know what I mean? It's not any one person's business that's going to influence things. It's all going to change and shift together. And so I think it's really important that people not hyper focus on their own craft and experience and focus on where they're going so much, but kind of
have these blinders on.
We're going, where are we headed? Like, what is this machine gonna do? Because that, I feel like you at least have a little bit more of an idea, because you're taking into consideration so many people's perspective, and they're all experts in their craft. You know what I mean? And so collectively, I feel like it's a better picture. And that's what I try to do. I mean, it's like my specific industry doesn't really have much to do with the music industry per se, but I really have to pay attention to that, because my producers will call me and be like, oh, we want a Billie Eilish type. And if I'm not paying attention to who Billie Eilish is, I'm going to be like, yeah, okay, I'll be sure to Google that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't sound very educated,
So I got a question around all that. Have you noticed on your end any, this is so huge right now. Like we basically just stopped and now we have to change. Whereas we were going down a path of 5 years to change. And now all of a sudden, you know what? We're changing today.
Yeah.
Or we're changing.
Oh, yeah.
So
5 years.
So that's like massive shock. So now you have agents, managers, casting directors, and everybody with their idea of what's going to be the perfect way to make this change, instead of this is what we collaboratively did over the course of 5 years. And we kind of transitioned and mended and went together, how we always do. Right. So now it's like, okay, I'm wondering from my area, I'm wondering, what are the casting directors thinking this would be the best route? And also, what would make your lives easier on this route? Does that make sense? Like I know you like fast tapes because things are moving fast, like literally that day or the next day. If you don't get it in, you pretty much miss the boat probably, because it's a panic mode now. And then good, clean, great light, look like the person, and first or second take, nailed it, rather than I took it 50 times, I nailed it, now let's go shoot, and then I can't shoot in 1 or 2 takes. Right. It's going to take me 2 days to shoot it, to get it perfect.
Right.
So what's your take on all that?
It's a really valid concern, and something that we've all thought about, and it's been brought up many times. I think that because of your last point about the fact that people may be in for a rude awakening when they book people from self-tapes that don't necessarily pan out like they planned. That experience will definitely push people back to the in-person studio casting, I think. The more people have that as a collective experience. But, if the majority it tends to work out this way, well, I think that there'll be a long period in which we're going to be self-taping. And in which case, I think one of the best ways that you can prepare, and I hate to say this because this is so unfortunate, but in my present experience has been the case, those people that get their tapes in first and foremost and the quickest are getting looked at first and getting that impression first. They're getting early on the tape, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, by the time those last stragglers come in, like they've already had their heart set on somebody. And it's kind of like every time a new thing comes in, it's like, well, do they beat this one? Well, are they better than that one? You know what I mean? And it's like, most of the time it's like, no. Occasionally the dark horse will come in and blow their mind. But it's like, it's the same kind of process in casting where people watch the tapes and, just by default, the first half of each category is just going to get more of their attention because they're looking to get enough choices. And once they've got enough, they kind of back off being so aggressive about, looking at people. So you really do want to get that tape in as quick as you can. That doesn't mean you turn in something crappy, but like the fastest you can turn in quality work.
Right. What's your ideal self-tape? Like per what our situation is.
I mean, I hate to say this because it puts pressure on, but I'll tell you, I've gotten some self-tapes that have it's like a commercial. You know what I mean? Where like the lighting is amazing, their backgrounds are amazing, they edit in examples of what they're talking about and leave their voiceover narration going through it. You know what I mean? They'll be like, and me and my family do this, that, and the other, and they show photos and video of their family doing that with him continuing to narrate over. You know what I mean? Like some of it I've just been like, wow.
But but that's pretty cool. But then on the flip side, since they're trying to shoot people at home and they want that quality and everything, this kind of shows somebody else's ability to go above and beyond to where this quality would save production and everybody else a lot of time.
Well, they're kind of like, we can trust this person. This person totally knows what they're doing. Their camera work is beautiful. They know how to edit.
Yeah. I was about to say, you get an actor who's an editor now it's kind of like, it's not only a jack of all trades from what I'm hearing from you, Katie, but it's are you the necessary job titles that production needs while also being a performer?
Yeah, because you have to also be locations. You have to be locations and casting and styling and makeup and hair.
Yeah. So if you can take the place of like 2 to 3 additional jobs, you're looking like a golden egg.
Seriously.
The stakes are up.
I know they are, but I've seen they have these, like, some of these talent agencies are marketing these quarantines where there's the model that's married to the photographer and you just ship them product and they can shoot it at home in their studio and send it to you, and it works. They've been doing it. But the other thing that I think is going to come into play that I think is important that people can prepare with is to start digging through your stuff and also start curating this, more skills clips, a clip of you playing drums, a clip of you at the skate park doing tricks, a clip of you horseback riding, a clip of you scuba diving in the Bahamas. Like, go through your old vacation footage, like go pull that footage that you shot at the skate park, 3 months ago before this all happened. You know what I mean? Like, start pulling what you have. And even just like, if you're a runner and you just don't even have anything of you running, go shoot a running clip, because having all that like ammo ready so that when your agent sends you an email that's like, hey, we need you to send out, we need you to audition, we need a running clip and we need, you to just do a slate at the beginning. You already have half of it done that you spent 2 hours making amazing. You know what I mean? Instead of having to just run out quick, it's dark. You know what I mean? Like, you can do the slate right now in your home studio, throw that with your amazing running clip that you already have, and you're going to be first.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those over-prepared.
Yeah, it's the same as like, how your actors used to travel around with a trunk full of clothes, like you got your formal, you got your, you got your bathing suit, you got your casual, you got your pajamas, like whatever you could possibly need or be asked for, you had it in your trunk. Like, this is going to be your new trunk. Like, you've got your soccer clip, you've got your, whatever your major skills are, you should have clips that are the most recent possible. And if they're 2 years old, see if you can go out and quickly shoot, a new one.
Right.
Updating your skills, making sure that your tools are sharp, the shed looks clean. Wow, it sounds like self-improvement.
It's also being prepared and like having all the tools you need at the ready instead of having to go out and build them when they're asked for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that I think at first people were like, let me cut corners and all this sort of stuff. But right now it's very critical that you don't cut corners, that you actually go coaching, you get good headshots, not just do snapshot zoom headshots that you can't even see that are pixelated. This is like critical because now people really need to see who you are, and they need to see what kind of character you have, and they can't tell that through like a screenshot, or a bad camera, or something like that. And then also coaching and classes. It's like very important. Don't drop the ball on that, because right now you're not driving all over the place. So the money you save from driving everywhere, you have to invest it in equipment. You got to invest it in knowledge. You got to invest in yourself, into like the quality of what you've got, the clips and the photos and all that stuff. Because if you don't, you're not in the ball game. Well,
you don't lose it, you lose it, right?
Yeah.
Ooh. Right across the bar, right here. that was really good and prominent. Like, are you noticing amongst your colleagues and yourself that you can tell the actors, like you say, that are using it versus they're losing it?
Unfortunately, I haven't done any casting during this quarantine that is all like to camera delivery acting, like the whole dialogue scenes. Most of what I've done has been I've done some kind of like reality type stuff, and I've done some voiceover stuff, and voiceover actors tend to stay on their game. Like, I mean, they talk all day. So
exactly.
You know what I mean? So like they can keep that game sharp even when talking to their husband. You know what I mean? So I think I haven't really gained that opportunity to compare and contrast. But I will say I have seen a lot of actors doing these monologue challenges and signing up for these consults, and really taking an active role and in improving their perspective and their game and their headset in this space. And that I've seen more now than I ever have,
right,
as people have time, you know what I mean? And so I think that investment, that self-investment that people are making during this period is going to pay off. I really do. I think that we're going to come out of this with some actors that have really sharpened their tools and really upped their game, because they've put themselves in a space that has ignited their fire instead of hindered and discouraged them, which is really difficult at a time like this. Like, everyone is feeling discouraged, but I think that it's a choice. I think that if you sign up for those opportunities, both physically and figuratively, you know what I mean, which it could just be an investment of your time and your headspace. I think that those are the people that are going to come out of this swinging, like, the minute they're given that opportunity, people are going to be like, whoa, like, this is what I'm talking about,
I actually feel that as bad as this whole thing is, and how much of a shock it is in a transition, I feel like this is really good in a sense, because a lot of people that, before, it was so many like people that have been out here for a long time, names and so forth, that have been doing this for a while, and they were the ones getting most of the opportunities, for a long time. And there was like one or two new ones that pop up, and then that was about it. And then somebody would get a shot with a guest star or something like that, or be the new possible person on the horizon, and then either fade out, or they made it through the gate, right? And then now with this whole thing, it's eyes on everybody. Who's going to do the best work? And so, that being said, I feel like there's a lot of people that are really, really good, that have been out here like knocking on the door. Hey, I'm here. Check me out, please. And now they have that opportunity, and people are watching them and seeing them, and they're getting that opportunity. Whereas before, that wasn't happening. So this is like actually excellent.
Yeah, it's kind of leveled the playing field a little bit, so to speak.
Yeah.
For sure. No, I mean, one of the most joyful experiences I've had throughout this was through doing these like free consults, where I've encountered people that really wanted to, for example, get into modeling. There's this story of this girl that really wanted to get into modeling, and she lived out of state. And she'd applied many times to modeling agencies in California. And the thing is that, you know, people have from all over the country, they have a preconceived notion about how Hollywood works and how modeling works. And, you know,
100%.
there isn't a book that tells you like the rating system on agents and which ones for what and who specializes in which looks. And like, you need to like know someone that can tell you all of that so that you know where you fit in. You know what I mean? Because there really is a place for everybody here. You don't need to be a 19-year-old 5'11" size 0 to model anymore. That's just
word. Damn it. I was working on my look. I had blonde wig. It was gonna look good. I was gonna be really good for you, Katie.
like
I promise you.
Be a 65-year-old short, fat, bald guy and make $10,000 a day.
I'm not short.
Pharmaceutical ad. Like there's, you know, jobs for everybody. It's just a matter of like knowing.
He said he's leaving, Katie. You made him leave.
Bald guys? What's wrong with bald guys? Come on.
I hire bald guys all the time.
I got green hair.
And Rob, you have a popular look. I'm not.
Buttons loose. Buttons loose. The buttons are off.
I'm giving you props, man.
Back off screen.
Maybe you need to jump onto the other side of the camera and stop being an agent and, you know, start some modeling work.
Damn, Katie's gonna get us all.
Serious.
But no, I do like that you brought that up because I think that's a really important point. I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah, well, no. So I did this consult with this girl who had this really cool, funky, edgy look. And she was applying to, you know, high-end, high-fashion modeling agencies that don't sell that look. You know what I mean? That's not their brand. Yeah. And so she was feeling really rejected. And she.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Miss Katie. But you can see me, right?
Uh-oh.
Andy.
Yeah, I can see you. Let's talk to you.
Okay. I know, right? Katie was amazing. You know, I wish her all the best when she unfreezes.
He's in that he's in that what do they do when they freeze you for a while and then you come back?
What?
I don't know.
Oh, like in Star Wars, like he's like Yo, she dipped out.
She's out of here. She didn't like the question. What was the question again? I kind of lost track.
She was talking. I didn't ask the question. Oh, jeez, man. Hold on.
I was just texting you.
Oh, okay. We were like, she didn't like the conversation.
Out of it.
No. It's my stupid internet. You know, like my child is homeschooling on 2 devices. You know, my husband is like,
you cannot
camera
sale on your cell phone signal.
Andy, what did I just have problems with the other day? Because I just bought a new internet system. I went with a completely different company. It's real.
Throw the whole thing away and start over, right?
We're still rolling.
No.
I'm excited about the story. It was a good story. So this
Go ahead. Edgy girl.
Applied to all these fashion places. They all rejected her. She felt like there was no place for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
sure.
She was bald.
She took a consult with me and she told me her whole story. And I was like, oh, well, the reason that happened is that you're knocking on the wrong doors. I was like, here, like these agencies are your brand. I was like, try this agency. I gave her a list and told her what order to go in. I was like, this is your top benchmark, like gold standard agency for your type. Like if you can get with them, like you are golden. Like, but if for some reason they won't sign you because you're not experienced, you know, try this agency B, you know. And I said, and if they're full, try C. Like one of those places will take you. You're amazing, you know. And I gave her a little pep talk. I picked out pictures for her, told her which ones to send. You know what I mean? So sure enough, she applies to the first choice agency. They give her a Zoom meeting and they sign her immediately. And she wrote to me like absolutely in tears, like, you don't even understand. I've been trying to do this for 3 years and feeling so rejected. Like, this is going to completely change my life. Like, I'm now moving to California because of this, you know?
Wow.
And it just felt like, you know, that's all that people need, is like, they just need a little bit of direction and be pointed somewhere where they will succeed. You know what I mean? And that's all it takes. And it's so simple to do that, you know, and it's so easy to do that. And that's one thing that I've been so grateful to all of my colleagues that have all spent the time to give guidance like that, because in the end, it benefits us too. We now have all this amazing brand new talent and new and improved skilled talent, you know, out there to show that make us look good. You know what I mean? Like, here, look at all these amazing talent I've picked, you know.
That's the long game. That's really awesome.
And then in the end, that brings more work to California, which gives more opportunities to more actors. It's like a win-win for everybody, you know?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's an awesome story.
You know?
Yeah. Do you have like a lot of stories like that? Because that's amazing. Like, she took one consultant, you know, meeting with you, and you just like saw her brand immediately. I mean, that's pretty incredible.
Well, I mean, she was really specific. You know what I mean? It was really easy. Like, any casting director, I've been like, oh, well, you should be at ABCD. You know what I mean? Like, it was easy. Anyone could have given her that advice. It wasn't that my insight was so genius. It was just, this is what I do. You know, there's 300 other of us that do the same thing, that would have said the same thing, you know? So I think that, you know, that's one of the things that's been a really great part of this journey and this quarantining, is that it's opened up so many more opportunities for people that wouldn't otherwise even have them. Because I mean, I don't have time to do this. You know what I mean? Like, I'd love to, and I wish we all did, but you know, we just don't. And so this has been I feel like a gift, like you said, for everyone.
Good karma.
Yeah. And I guess it just depends on like how you look at this time right now. Is opportunity sake. And what are you drinking over there?
This is kombucha mixed with pineapple and sparkling water. It's my own personal cocktail.
Because I was like looking over there, and I was like, I don't know what that is, but it's yellow.
I know. I'm like, you know.
Do you make your kombucha?
Oh,
do you make
that's a good question.
Kombucha?
A lot of people do that.
You know, I did for a long time, but the thing about it was, to be totally honest, it was so boozy. It was like making me drunk. And like, I can't be getting drunk at 10:30 in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be getting like a DUI on the way to my office for my kombucha.
She's slurring when she's casting.
No. Look, I have been drinking kombucha all morning. Why are your eyes so hazy? It's a long story. My head hurts right now, but I feel amazing.
I did for a while. It's a gnarly process, you know. My new thing right now is I've started doing sourdough starter.
Oh, I saw your post. I was like,
oh my gosh. I made my first loaf of bread last night. It was like, I felt like I had my own personal La Brea bakery in my kitchen. It was
that's cool.
I highly recommend it. It's easy.
She's taking on some new hobbies here.
So since we're on the whole hobby and pandemic, like, what can you do at home? Make this, make that. So this is new. I haven't seen anyone do this. So give me the lowdown on this sourdough starter.
Sourdough starter. It's kind of scary, like, when you think about what it is that you're doing. So literally, you just mix equal parts of flour and water, and you put it in a jar, and you basically let it ferment. And every 24 hours, you feed it more. But what happens is that because it grows in volume, you know what I mean? So if you have, you know, you put half a cup of flour, half a cup of water, you leave it for a day, it starts to bubble like soda. And then you have to reduce it down to half a cup again. So that part of it, you give away. You can give it to somebody else to then start.
Have some sticky stuff that was in a jar for whatever reason you want this.
Yes. Right? And then
I'm just imagining this conversation going down. Like, Katie's going, "Hey, Andy, I got this awesome stuff in a jar, and it's gonna have some baked bread. It's gonna be awesome. You go ahead and have it." What the hell is this?
And it's stinky, but it's gonna smell better later. Oh, cool! I got some
rotting flour.
That's very cool. So as you're making your own, you can give it away.
Some, because you have to always add the same amount of water and flour to whatever you have, whatever starter you have. So if you just kept adding it in that amount, you'd have like 75 gallons by the end.
You could fill your pool thing in the back with it.
Exactly. So you have to keep
a pool full of bread
so that you can add the equal parts. And that's why people have what they call friendship bread, because they're giving away pieces of their starter. And that's how I started, was someone was giving it away, and I was like, oh, I'll give that a go. And I fed it, and it was amazing because it's alive. People name their starters. There's like, this is my starter, Clive. Would you like some?
But do you ever like really make it, or you just keep giving it to people? Well, Clive had a baby. Here's his newborn, and I'm gonna keep Clive for a little longer.
Exactly.
And now we know how people ended up having kids in life. They're going, "Hey, my Clive just had a baby. I think we can do this now too." Yeah. Okay, cool.
Had a baby, so here you go. I have like too many babies. Would you like some of these babies?
I have extra.
Do you ever does Clive ever develop, or he just stays the same age and just kind of like pops up?
I'm telling you, look, this is my bread.
Oh.
Wait, okay, but how many days is that after? Because you said it stays in there for 24 hours, right?
No, well, what happens is you start with like this jar of goo, pretty much, right?
Ooh.
It's all like bubbly and percolating, and you see all the bubbles at the top.
All right.
So it's just this gooey, percolating like soda of dough.
Right.
You add it, into the bread, and that's what makes it bubbly, and that's what makes it sour. That's what makes it sour. But
okay.
I was super into it. I highly recommend trying it. There's tons of internet.
And then do you use colors on it? Like you can change the color of your bread and like.
Nah, I don't want to mess with it too much. It's literally flour, water, salt, starter and yeast, and that's it.
So San Francisco has nothing on you.
What's that? Yeah, exactly.
About San Francisco.
That's right.
You guys got nothing on Katie Taylor. We got Clive and Burnett. We got jars everywhere. We got the garage filled with
I just saw someone on the internet named There's Clive, but mine is really unknown.
Katie, we have never laughed this much on an episode. I'm going to just already disclose that. This has been the most fun episode I have been on yet.
This is awesome.
Really industry focused, unfortunately.
I know, yeah. Like, it's just super fun. And like seeing that you can, if anybody in this, I wouldn't know that you're going through a quarantine right now. Aside from the fact that you're in a box below me and you keep a really, really warm smile, you look like you are just having the time of your life right now. I mean, have you just always been like this?
I appreciate life a lot. I was actually a really sick kid. And I, life is short was introduced to me quite early in life. And so honestly, I kind of feel like we're all really pretty darn lucky and to not have the perspective of that every day is really truly a gift. It really, it is a disservice, to your life. You've got to really embrace every moment you have. Because not everybody is lucky, and tomorrow is never promised, especially now more than ever.
Wow.
And so I feel like, I don't want to be one of those people that looks back and feels like they wasted their time, being sad or worried or not, really embracing, every single little drop of life, that is offered to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's important.
That's amazing. No, and we had a guest who was a personal trainer, and then she's going into advertising now, and she owns her own advertising company, but she has beat cancer twice now, and she says words similar to that. And she's under 30.
Wow.
Yeah. Did you have something along those lines?
No, I didn't have cancer. I have chronic kidney disease. So it's been said to me from quite an early age that I will eventually, need a transplant or be on dialysis for the rest of my life. And so it's kind of one of those things that looms your whole life. You don't know when. Kidneys are so unpredictable. You have no idea whether they're going to cut out at any point in time. They're really one of those organs that you really can't track or predict much. And
We
so
can call it Clive.
exactly. So it's
I
great.
was
Mine are still
together.
they're still working, and
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I was able to have 2 kids.
Right.
And they took a pretty big hit from doing that, but it was totally worth it. So
That's phenomenal, girl. That's phenomenal.
That's
And
awesome.
so, yeah. Has there, because I almost want to ask you, has there been a specific actor? Because we've been talking about actors and whatnot and what you see on a daily basis. Has there been an actor that has come through your doors, or a director or a producer that you thought that you were like, oh God, this person, oh geez, help me today, and they end up being one of like your best colleagues, or you guys do a ton of work together? Do you have any stories like that as a casting director? Because you're so lighting.
like where I was not particularly impressed with them at the beginning, and my perspective changed.
Yeah, where you had like a first bad impression of an industry person, like, because you work with all types.
That's a horrible.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like,
Yeah,
want to answer
I
this
don't
one?
know if there's been a
I know,
particular
right?
instance where someone has like completely changed I really pride myself on my first impression usually tends to be pretty spot on. Um, God, not that I can think of. If anything, it's been the opposite.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Where I've been like, yeah, I think that person's XYZ. I can't really tell, but I'm pretty sure. And then sure enough, you're like, yep, there it is. That's
yo, she says, there it is. There it is. And is that like you only find that by just spending time with them, or you like,
yeah. No, but people are usually pretty transparent from the beginning. There's been times where sure, like I wasn't sure about something, and then all of a sudden it's been made apparent what it was that I was picking up on and wasn't sure about that. Like there's been times where, like, I don't know if I told the story to you or not, but there was this audition
go ahead. I want to hear it.
doing where we were looking for salsa dancers, and
Okay.
we had to pair up dancers in the lobby. Like here's your partner, you're going to be
All
doing
right,
with
right,
them, and
right.
that way they could practice together and whatever. And I happened to be there in an office. I happened to get a studio that day that had the 2-way mirror, so we can watch, but they can't see
Oh
us.
God. Oh
Just look at
God.
the mirror.
And it wasn't just you, it was you and some colleagues, right?
Yeah. So I'm sitting there doing my job, watching through the glass as I can, just making sure everything's smooth. My camera guy comes out to me every once in a while, ask questions, whatever. So I'm watching things go on, and this couple comes in and they start, and it's from literally the second he says action and for them to dance, it's painfully obvious that this guy has no idea how to salsa dance, like at all. And the girl is like a professional trained dancer, like legit, amazing, stunning professional.
I
And
see this going bad.
the camera guy like kind of doesn't know what to do. He's kind of like, do I let this play out a little bit more? Like maybe he's just kind of slow to start out, or whatever. I am like, no, I immediately run in there, stop, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, are you a trained dancer? And he was like, yeah, I spent a whole summer in Brazil. My friend owns a salsa studio, and I used to help him teach. And I was like, really? And I looked at her and I said, did you guys practice in the lobby? And she said, no, he told me he didn't want to practice, that he was good. And I was like, and I literally went out in the lobby. I put her second. I repaired her, took the next ready couple, like messed up our whole order of repairing and readjusting, called that guy's agent, sent her the video of him auditioning, and she dropped him. Was like, that's like, you don't do that. Like, you cannot do that.
Damn.
And my only inkling, sure enough, was like, earlier I had been in the lobby and I'd given an explanation and helped my assistant pair people up. And I saw him sat there and I kind of looked around the room at all these people that were obvious professional dancers, that were dressed like professional dancers. And he's in sneakers and jeans and a t-shirt. And I look at him and I'm like, yeah, we'll have to see about him.
So
not
like out like a sore thumb. You could tell like he wasn't, because I mean you picked the actors, right? Or the
yeah, but they all have notes. Like the agents, like Andy, you can put a note on the bottom that says professional trained salsa dancer or whatever, And it is spend a year in Brazil working at a salsa school. Like, how would that not be impressive, right? Like, of course, slam dunk. He worked at a salsa school. Like,
yeah, that's like, oh, no problem. Let's do this.
Of course, this guy, you would have died. I mean, it was like he had watched one YouTube video.
Yeah, I go through this a lot actually, because people are like, oh, I'm fluent in French, and literally speak it every other day.
Oh, sure. See,
yeah. Yeah.
Bonjour.
Yeah, and then it's like, man, like then you get down in there. You're like, all right, so can you send me a clip of you speaking this fluent French that you do all the time? Well, it's gonna take me a couple days because I'm super busy. This is during the pandemic, so I'm like, all right, like busy what? Like jogging and speaking French, or like what are you doing?
Learning French.
Problem.
Just gonna get, a quick tutorial.
So I get this, I get the videos and, pretty good on some of them, but some of them are like, this is not even beginner level. This is like, if I knew French in high school, but I know 2 words in French right now. It's like, I know, like stuff that's not going to be relevant to anything, right? So it's like, it's not going to fly. So, and it's like that with a lot of stuff. Oh, I'm like sports. Oh my God. Sports probably the worst for you guys, because it's like, I'm an expert at everything. Just because you watch baseball on TV doesn't mean you know how to play baseball, right? And you're not an expert. Sorry.
Or they were in Little League, 35 years ago.
No, that's what you get, Katie?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Not Little League, but you'll get guys in their 50s that'll be like, what? I played college ball. And you're like, yeah, but that was like over 30 years ago. You know?
I was the top in my T-ball team, and I can hit that
T-ball team. Doesn't the ball stay on the stick?
T-ball is for like under 6.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was like, Katie, don't your kids play T-ball? We're talking about a 50-year-old man.
So yeah, I mean, I've had people show up on set that couldn't swim when it was a swimming job. You know what I mean?
What? Wait, what? Whoa. Cut. Isn't that like a hazard? Like, why would you put your... That's
like me.
That's really dumb.
On my back and float, I'm
like you go in, Katie, this is gonna be in a lazy pool, right? I brought my swim trunks and everything. What?
No, I had a job where we made it really clear. We showed them the layout. It was a bunch of people all holding hands, running and jumping off of a little pier into a lake. Them like,
that's cool.
It was a really cute shot. It was like freedom, and we auditioned everyone. We made it really clear that everyone had to be super comfortable, not only swimming, but this was a cold lake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this was cold. And so we were like, you have to not only be comfortable swimming, but with cold water. Like, it's going to be cold. Like, I'm not like not SoCal ocean cold even.
It's
I'm
like Tony Robbins dipping thing that he dips down
like,
into.
like Lake Tahoe in September,
Oh man.
And so sure enough, like we hired 6 people and 5 of them were like amazing. They would jumped and jumped and jumped and did everything and swam and did everything. And this one girl was like,
She was like you on live.
I know. Is that like dinosaur arms?
It's kind of like, like the defensive, it's like.
Yeah. So who pushed her?
I know. I'm waiting for the punchline here. Like Katie went up behind her and said, "Get in the water."
Yeah. I'm not on set. I get the phone call being like, "Dude, Jane Smith. Like, what did she say in her casting? She said she could swim, right?" I'm like, yeah. She said she was an amazing swimmer. She, totally comfortable. Like we have it on slate, on video. How do you feel about jumping in? Totally comfortable. How do you feel about cold water? Totally fine with it. And you're a good swimmer? Great swimmer, great swimmer. You know what I mean? Like we have it, and then she's jumping in and like anytime water splashes, she doesn't want to get her face wet. I'm like,
why?
After we traveled them far to a hotel, it's not like I could send a replacement to set either,
Yeah.
Oh man.
So question to both of you, because of your positions in dealing with so much talent, and obviously you both have experiences in dealing with this. I'm sorry, in dealing with this kind of stupidity. I'm just gonna say it. What do you think it is that causes somebody to be like? Because Katie, you're gonna have a lot more respect for somebody if they just say, "Look, this is my swimming experience."
I have so much respect. You know what? I can't even tell you how much respect I have for people that come to the casting and be like, you know what? I didn't realize that it was this. Like my agent didn't tell me. And I'll be like, you know what? I super appreciate you attracting yourself. Like I remember then I'm like, I can trust this actor. Like when they tell me that they know how to do something, I will believe them. Because they were super honest. They drove all the way to my casting and didn't get put on tape because they knew they couldn't deliver. Like, I love you. I'm not going to judge you for not being able to do something. I never will judge you for that. That isn't a negative. That isn't like, oh my God, I'm never going to trust that actor again because, they showed up for me. Like, are you kidding? Like, I so appreciate you even, pushing further to find out your comfort level. You know what I mean? Like, obviously we prefer if that push is done before you show up, to ask more information, but sometimes that opportunity is not available. Sometimes the agent suggests is not and just being like, just go, you know what I mean? And that's fine. Yeah. Like I still would much rather like have that dialogue and protect both of us. And not only that, it protects your impression and our relationship. You know what I mean? It's an investment because it's an investment in honesty. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I can trust her. She told me she can't swim. She doesn't feel comfortable getting her face wet. I'm going to think of her another time, like, thank you, and that's an opportunity to create a positive association with you as someone that we can count on and trust. So don't think, I think so many people are afraid. They're afraid to pass up an opportunity. They think, oh, well, maybe it won't be that bad, or I'll be able to tolerate it. I can figure it out. They like talk themselves into it, even though they know
desperation.
You know what I mean? They're like, they know that they have a thing with water on their face.
Right.
And they think, you know what, I'm going to push through it just for this job. Like, this is not the opportunity for you to push through it. You want to push through it, you go down to the beach on your own time when you're not being paid and you push through it. You know what I mean?
That'd be like me on Amazing Race. Oh, I got it. I'm so stoked. Oh, I'm so screwed.
But I can't even run a block. What am I going to do?
I can't climb up that ladder.
It just sounds like out of desperation, like they're just like so hungry for the check.
Afraid to turn down an opportunity, and I totally understand that, and I really empathize with that. But you have to really, I do.
They're afraid. They're afraid to get into the pool. But I hired you to get into the pool.
I came to you and I said, hey, I have a SAG National triple scale, and they're looking for an African-American guy in his early, in his late 20s, let's say, and they want him
she aged
to
me.
know how to, skateboard from point A to point B. Wouldn't you be like, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna take out a skateboard. It's not a trick. It's from point A to point B. I bet I could pull it for triple scale SAG National. Come on,
Yo,
Alex.
Katie, I'm gonna be honest with you. I actually, so I have a story about this. I did a photo shoot one time, and I got on the skateboard, and this was real eye opening. They said just get on the skateboard, and all you have to do is stand on it and look at the camera while the skateboard moves, and then you have to turn left, and then all you have to do is get off.
Okay, that still sounds, if you've never been on a skateboard, turning.
And I was like, no, I got this. Don't worry. I'm your guy. I fell off the thing. I said, this is not my thing. So if there's higher stakes, Katie, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to tell you, give me some time to practice, or I might have to skip on the triple national. What am I going to do? Like, put elbow pads on? You know what I mean?
I know. No, you say no.
I think the desperation of this is a triple national. I got to pay all my bills. This barely ever pops up anywhere. I'm just going to do this. I can learn it on YouTube. I can do anything. They book it.
It's a new anagram I learned. It's FOMO. You know what FOMO is?
I've heard of it.
Fear of missing out.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to know what though, Katie? I'm gonna tell you right now. It's like I heard this one time, and it was from this guy who was really short. He goes, "Yo, if there's a commercial that says they need someone who's 6'2", I'm not your guy. But you want to know what? If you need a 5'11er, I'm a hell of a 5'11er. I'm not 6'2", but I'll be your hell of a 5'11er." And I think it's just like, being in your lane. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure.
I don't want to fall off a skateboard in front of this casting director. I've been skating for 10 years.
You want to be able to show up where you can be seen in a positive light,
Right.
And it's not an opportunity if it's going to make a negative impression. It's an opportunity to make a negative impression. It's not an opportunity.
And do you want to go salsa dancing at Katie's shop? We can go salsa dancing.
With Luce and Clive.
Right. Luce and Clive. But I would feel, and maybe this is just me, but if I was in that situation, like let's say that salsa dancing one was the triple national, it would click in my head, immediate embarrassment if you were going outside, for one, and two, asking my partner if we practiced or not. Like there would be some red lights that are, I don't know if this is going the right way, and where did you come from? Because I looked at that mirror and I didn't know that there was people behind there. I'm like, maybe she's the boss and not good stuff is happening right now. Like I'm not, I don't know. Do you understand what I'm kind of like saying here, Katie?
No, I'm totally.
She doesn't have a hidden mirror. She doesn't hide.
No, in the situation where you were talking about, you were doing the salsa dancers.
Totally.
In that kind of situation where I'm like trying to fake the funk, and you come out, right? And you come into the room and you ask the partner, hey, did you guys practice?
Well, I didn't ask that until after I saw the audition. I didn't even know. The only impression I saw was the way he was dressed. That was it. And I went out there and I scanned the room and I saw all these professionally dressed dancers in their salsa attire. And then there's, bro with his jeans.
She said all these salsa dancers, and then there's bro.
With the jeans and tennis shoes.
So there was definitely improv on your side of just like taking.
Okay, going to have to pay attention when he goes in the room. That's kind of just all I really noted. And so that's why when he came in, I was like, all right, let's see this go down, you know? And then the minute he started, that was it. I stopped it immediately. And that's when I went in there and I was like, what are you doing? And he gave me the story of working in the school. And then I looked at her and I was like, did you know about this? You know, kind of thing. Like what happened out there? I said, did you practice? And she goes, no, he didn't want to. And I was like, that was it. You know?
Oh,
is it true that you guys can make an impression of how someone's going to perform, let's say like 3 seconds into them coming in, just walking in and before their performance?
No, I've had people completely blow my mind that I never would have guessed ever.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, especially like kids. Oh my God. I've had kids just blow my mind where I was just, you know, they're out in the lobby, just regular kid. And I'm thinking, oh, great, here we go. Yeah, you know, it's like with kids, it's like you're having to teach them how to act at the same time, getting them to learn the lines. You know, you're having to give them the cues of the emotions and the whatever and the, you know, the reactions while they're waiting for their turn to talk, things like that. But I never forget, I had this kid come in and do a read like he was a trained adult. Like he did his read with Andy. He was doing like, he had like buttons and stuff. Like he was doing like little, like I was like, oh my kid knows what a button is. He's like 6.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And he was like giving his own little like one word little flavors on the end of certain lines and like little gestures and stuff. And I was like,
this kid's ready.
Some of these kids crack me up. I'm like, what? Like it's like
opposite of what they wanted physically. That was the other thing, is that I just called this kid out of the blue because I was like, because, you know, as casting directors, they ask for something. Right. We give them what they've asked for, but we also kind of like sprinkle in some wild cards. And this was one of my sprinkles. You know, he was like a chubby kid with curly hair. And, you know, it was like the opposite of what they had asked for, dark curly hair. They wanted like a blonde, fit kid, whatever. And he nailed it. He booked it. He totally like changed what they had imagined because and they let him keep a bunch of the buttons that he came up with himself. You know? Nice. Yeah, they ended up in the final spot. So it's like I could never judge people on, you know, their appearance.
Right.
You know, you definitely get an inkling when you look at someone's resume and you're like, damn, like they've had a lot of comedy and improv training. Like I'm gonna expect them to really deliver. And sure enough, they do. And you're like, well, there you go. You know, like, they're amazing.
I know some of these kids, I have a couple of them, but some of them are just like, it's like talking to a comedian adult, you know, and they can throw it at you and back and forth and the whole thing on and on. And it's almost like you have to stop yourself. You're like, I can't keep going with like, this is so awkward. It's like a 10-year-old kid that's like,
kids these days. Oh, man.
Yeah. Are your kids like that sometimes too, just like with random stuff?
You know what's very sweet is that my kids are very sweet and innocent and quite young for their age. You know what I mean? Like my 10-year-old still, you know, loves dolls and you know what I mean? Like she's still really young. And I think that's just because I don't let her like cruise the internet too much. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't get inundated on like grow up too fast media that they're being thrown.
Oh yeah.
That's all in the phones, man. That's all in the phones.
Yeah, no, she doesn't have one of those.
That's good.
That's smart. That's smart. See, take it from Katie Taylor here. This is how you do parenting.
You gotta keep it locked down. I've got to tell you, I did this film that you guys should check out. That's really interesting. I cast this documentary film about Instagram, and it was called. We had a couple working titles. I think it ended up being called No Filter. Or no,
I've heard about this.
Started out as, I have to look it up, but it's about Instagram. Mm-hmm. And it followed the stories of 3 different people with different perspectives on Instagram and all of the things that happened to them along the way. Like one of them was one of those guys that like illegally climbs towers and buildings, you know what I mean, to take those photos like off the top of like his feet dangling over the edge and things like that. He's like a bridge climber. And he was like on the news and stuff. Like he was a famous one, and he was a kid. He was a young kid, and he's just so smart and so incredibly gifted in terms of his vision and his eye and stuff like that. He's a really amazing photographer. People started like copying him and stuff like that. It was really, kind of scary. And then another girl who is this stunningly gorgeous, blonde, wealthy young teenage girl who, blew up. I mean, she's gorgeous. She looks like a Barbie. You know what I mean? She's just gorgeous. And all about all the crazy people that encountered her, and all the haters and death threats and stalkers and, just all sorts of crazy stories. And then the last one that was the most amazing was, here it is. What's it called? Social Animals. That's what it's called.
Social Animals.
Yes. It went to South by Southwest. It went to all these film festivals. And this last girl they followed who basically like attempted suicide from all of the threats and stuff that happened to her on Instagram. Like they become hyper vigilantly obsessed with the amount of likes and the commentary, and they take it really, really personally and literally. And people start sharing, like you have to watch the film, but it really showed me that like this platform has the ability to absolutely destroy a child's self-esteem. Just obliterate it. And I'm not willing to even give my children the opportunity to have that happen, because I feel like the perks are in no way in comparison to the cons that can happen. And they don't need it. We have TV. We have a water slide.
Yeah, with starter sourdough bread at the bottom of it.
I mean, there's just so many other amazing, joyful places to
so you don't bounce out of it. It just catches you, and you're like,
yeah. So, it was really eye-opening to work on that film and to then also see it. I mean, I cried my eyes out when I watched the final product. I was just like, I don't think I will.
Check it out. No Filter and Social Animals.
It's called Social Animals. The working title was No Filter, but I think some other film took that before ours came out.
Okay. Animals. All right. You got that, everybody? YouTube Live.
Yeah.
Social Animals. That's a interesting. I mean, as we're doing a live, we are talking about you. I guess doing the minimalist, because that's a principle in the idea of minimalism. Is just kind of staying away from so much activity on the phone and just kind of going to the regular roots of us being as human beings here. And now kids are. I mean, this can go on for a whole nother episode, but now kids are on TikTok.
Oh, I know. We're off of that too.
Yeah, I don't mess with that.
Yeah, that.
What else is just that I have had a lot of experience with online predators of children that infiltrate every single platform. So many of the child actors have kidnapping attempts, stalkers. I mean, really, really, just they steal photos and sell them to, predators online, virtually. There's all sorts of really sick, horrible things going on, in the dark web beyond.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to even place anyone I care about in any way, shape, or form close to any of that.
I see your shield and I see your sword. She is the guardian angel here.
It's a necessary, evil and part of this industry that people, have to maintain social media platforms for marketing purposes and things like that. And I get that and I respect that. And, adults are responsible enough to navigate that, for themselves as actors and for their child actors, as long as they're the ones managing and negotiating all of that and protecting them. Great. I still just don't feel like it's necessary for children because, you know, you're already putting your child's face out there on billboards and magazines. And
I know.
So it's like, you know, when you see that, at the very least, there's not any way that you can track who this child is or where they live or, you know, but when you look at a child's social media, you can figure that out.
The dots are connected. I'm always weird with that when I see moms and they'll post pictures of their kids, you know, and it's like, I'm going, oh, I mean, that's good, but you have like this 9-year-old kid who has their own platform that is on their own phone that's taking pictures and taking videos of where they live at. Like, and then they have IP. Yeah. So it's scary.
I'm with the whole like posting where we are and all that.
You know, their school uniform with their little insignia on it. You'll see that. You know,
mm-hmm.
These people are crazy on the internet.
Yeah.
As Katie bugs eyes out, she's like, "They're crazy. Trust me, they're crazy. I'm one of them."
You're gonna freeze her screen again.
I know, right? Just. I'm with Clive on this one. Yeah. He's talking to me now. Don't worry, Clive. It's okay.
It's okay.
Oh man, but you want to know what, Miss Katie? I have to ask you one last question. We always do this towards the end because you have been a doll of a guest, amazing, and just truly playful with us today. And I know one of the things that you had said was you look at life as like you're cherishing every single day because you had some problems growing up and you just understand like I just want to take as much out. What is something mindset wise that you're doing right now and getting through this quarantine process that our viewers can look at you and be like, wow, Katie Taylor, she's not only funny, hilarious, really knowledgeable, but I can take some kind of mindset from her.
A lot of people look up to you. I had a lot of people going, oh, she's on the show. Awesome. Yeah. So now what do you got?
Wow. No pressure, right?
No pressure.
I think that if everyone just kind of tries to remember that no matter what's going on with them, no matter what it is, it's really only temporary. You know what I mean? Like emotions are temporary, circumstances are temporary. Like everything in life is constantly in a state of change and flux. And if we can all just kind of hold on a little tighter during the bumpy times, you know, like you'll get through it side, you know, to a brighter patch, you know, a sunnier patch. And I think that so many people are so fearful about, you know, where they sit right now. It's hard to see beyond that, you know. And I'll never forget when I was a kid, my mom used to bring up this one scene, and I can't remember what movie it was with, but it was Scarlett O'Hara was in this scene in some major famous epic historical film, and like the whole town is burning behind her, and she looks at it and you know, sees that, you know, basically the whole world has gone to shit, and the first thing out of her mouth, she just says, oh well, I'll worry about it tomorrow.
Ah, that's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like, never forget that you do have the opportunity, if you feel overwhelmed, just to shelf it. Just to, you know, I'm just gonna not worry about that right now. Just
kind of like my taxes.
He's been talking about his taxes for like 2 months now.
Hey, I feel that. I have postponed my appointment twice. So
okay.
Yeah, because I don't want to go in the office. I was like, can't we do this over the phone? She's like, no. And I'm like, well, then
I'm so relieved now.
Again.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one. This is awesome.
You're not. You're not the only one. Not the only one.
Wow.
That's the song I sing whenever my husband and I see someone's child having a tantrum in public, totally embarrassing the parents.
Oh my God.
My husband, I'm like, not the only one.
And then I want to see you out in public because I'm sure that would piss that kid off and that parent.
No, the parent and the kid don't see it or hear it. It's just
okay.
Husband. Like, see, we're not the only ones that deal with the struggle of the tantruming child in public. Like, we are not alone.
Oh man,
we're all parenting these cavemen children.
Do you have leashes for them? I see kids with leashes.
No, I prefer hand-to-hand contact, you know. Dishes can break, you know. I gotta know if my fingers are slipping, you know.
A little collar with the zap.
Yeah, she just
out of range. Oh, I'm only like a couple feet away from mom. Let me get back there.
No. Lovingly cradle their hands.
Too far out.
Want to run.
No, I got your hand. I got your hand. I got your hand.
No,
and you, Clive.
I have runners. I'm really lucky. My children are, you know, really well behaved. I feel pretty lucky.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, I super appreciate you coming on today. We appreciate you. I mean, and seeing you guys interact, there's so many things that you guys have in common. So when part of our audience being industry professionals of all sectors, they can see that we all get through this together. And like you said, for at least for actors, everybody has a place. They just have to figure out where that is.
Totally.
You know, and are you doing more of those consultations? Because I know actors ask us all the time.
I am. I'm doing some this afternoon. I'm doing some tomorrow afternoon. I just keep releasing them in little bits because I'm too nervous to schedule them too far in advance because of how quickly our jobs change.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been adding them, you know, intermittently as they come up. So,
okay.
Which has been hard because they only release like 10 appointments at a time, and then they're filled in like 3 minutes.
Yeah, like Katie. If if any actors watch this and want to know how to schedule with you, what is the way that they can?
I have a Sign Up Genius link that's on my Instagram bio.
Okay.
And kind of, you know, gotta open it and make a little tab and just kind of occasionally click on it and refresh it and see when it adds. And most of the time I will announce on my Instagram stories when I'll be dropping. I'll be like, hey, I'm gonna put more appointments up this afternoon, you know, follow for when I do. And then once I drop them, I'll say, hey, just added 20 appointments, you know, and that kind of thing. Or sometimes what I've done a couple of times, which has been, you know, a few people have tried like 20 times to get in, and they've written to me every time. They're like, oh, when are you going to do it again? Or what, you know, I just missed it again. And occasionally I'll go and add 3 or 4, and I'll just write to them and be like, hey, I just added 3 or 4 if you want to jump in there.
Right.
You know, because I feel bad. People have been trying for like 2 months.
If we put a link up on or a card up on our show for your website or what have you, and they say that they saw you on this live, would you entertain possibly meeting them, or, you know, doing a...
Yeah, I could possibly, you know, consider putting a little, you know, special time out. It's hard because I don't know if you've got like 500 viewers. I don't think that I'm gonna be able to accommodate that. I think I've seen like 120 people total so far over the last 2 months.
Right, not to put you out and to take time away from your bubble home in the backyard or anything.
Your bubble home. No, he's just saying, like, if it's just one extra space, that specifically if they click this link through watching your video today, this is one extra space that is added to your calendar.
Oh, like a lottery.
Like a special state.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like a lottery. Yeah.
I totally will do that. Absolutely.
All right.
Okay.
Absolutely. Awesome.
Yeah. This will be a lot of fun. You know, we'll be able to do, you know, crazy buttons, Clive. They'll be able to get a lot out of this.
Amazing.
I'll hide the button for you in the show after I'm done, and they'll have to find it, but they'll have to watch the whole thing and find it.
I like it.
Find the buttons.
Like the stuffed animal in Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Stuffed animal. There's hidden things.
You shop at Trader Joe's every single day at any Trader Joe's location. They have a special stuffed animal that they move. They hide all over the store, and they move it every 24 hours. So every time you go in, you have to look for it. And if you find it, you get a lot.
I like that.
Then what happens?
That's pretty cool.
When you find it, I found it.
And you get a lot.
You get a
go
waffle?
to the counter and you say, I found the monkey. he's over in the frozen food section. And they say, great. And they give you a lollipop as your prize.
Oh, okay. Oh, sweet. I'm gonna have to go out there today.
They probably don't do that anymore, I'm imagining, because I'm sure all their stuffed animals are quarantined now. But
yeah,
we're stuck behind glass. We can't go out. Oh man. Well, this has been super amazing, Miss Katie.
We'll hide the link just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I super appreciate you coming on the show. This is Miss Katie Taylor, casting director, crazy mom, buttons be buttons in the background. We will talk to you soon. All right, my dear.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
It was great being here. Thanks for having me.
All right. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
All righty.